So I've been wanting to talk about student loans for a long time, and I've avoided talking about them only because I wanted to kind of select where we're going with it, right? So there's about 4 points I want to cover, and the first one is student loan money is not free money. Federally funded student loans are not free money. There are only two types of debt you cannot get rid of in a bankruptcy. First one is taxes. Second one is student loans. Student loans are basically a tax for getting your education. That's right, because you can't get rid of them. So it's not free money. Secondly, I want you to understand why people are getting buried. They're getting buried because the interest rates are calculated like payday loans. Anybody who's ever had to take out a payday loan understands that these loans are really like 300, 600% interest rates by the time you've paid them off. Most people understand that. And that's what these student loans have become. These student loans are basically federal programs with private overseers. So just like a military contract, the federal government picks a company, in this case about half a dozen plus, that then run the programs. Okay? These companies, again, treat them like payday loans. And if there's any doubt in that, one of the largest, Navient, actually pays their CEO $7.8 million a year to oversee a federal program on student loans that is supposed to be just paying for itself, the program, and getting the money back from people that have borrowed money that's federal anyway. And let me put it in perspective. One woman was talking about her student loan was right around 40 grand. And she was paying $860 a month. And after paying on it for over 10 years, she'd only paid $2,000 down. Something sounds really wrong, right? Because by the time she's paid off that student loan in 30 years, assuming she makes the same payment every month for 30 years, she's paid almost $310,000 for borrowing 40. If you did that, if some bank tried to do that to you with a house loan, with a mortgage, you would have the right to sue them. It's illegal. But not in the student loan industry. It's not in the federally funded student loan industry. No. They can rob you blind. And you can't discharge the debt because it's taxes and student loans. So the interest is being accrued in a daily fashion. So these people remain in debt, and by the 10-year point, a lot of them will look at their student loans and it's actually increased even though they have been making monthly payments for 10 years straight. And how do we know that? Because teachers, firemen, military, if you have gone into public service, we have always had a program where 10 years of making your payments on time, you can go ahead and get that debt discharged. Oh, but here's the thing. Those companies will stretch it out for 3 to 5 more years while you still have to make payments before they will actually discharge the debt. But this is federal money, right? So why isn't the debt discharged immediately if you've done your due diligence as federal law dictates? Sounds off, doesn't it? So these companies are raking in hand over fist, and they basically can screw anybody over because our oversight of our overseeing companies is bunk. We don't. My question is, now to top it all off, point number 4. Now they've created these loans for parents. So some of these parents are getting trapped under these loans now too. And if you need a reference, 60 Minutes did an expose about 2 weeks ago. And there's a guy who he helped his son with his debt. And now the dad is paying this debt that doesn't seem to be going down. And he's paying like 99% interest and 1% towards his payment to his actual principal. They're going to end up taking his house eventually, right? Because when push comes to shove, he can't pay that off in 30 years. It's not meant to be paid off. They're meaning it to keep us in a debt cycle, to keep all poor and middle class in a debt cycle. And let me explain the biggest problem with this. Again, there are only 2 types of debt you cannot get rid of in a bankruptcy. The first one is taxes. This is taxes on the college-educated, middle, and poor in our country. This is intentionally making college-educated people poor. Who benefits from that? Oh, you mean like that rich dick making $7.8 million? Not to mention, what is the federal government? Why are they not canceling all of this debt? They know they've already collected the money and then some. They know these companies are ripping people off. Oh, no. Let's turn the 70% of the uneducated in this country on the college educated in this country. Why? Ask yourself why. Because they want people stupid. They don't want you college educated. They don't want you well read. And I'll promise you that when push comes to shove, all of you screaming about immigration, we only have 26 to 28% college educated in this country, but we know we need somewhere between 36 and 40%. So what do? We bring in immigrants. We bring in immigrant doctors. We bring in immigrant engineers. We bring immigrant liberal arts degrees. We need 40% right now to be college educated, and we only have 26 to 28%. Some regions of the country only have about 13%. You want to cry about immigration? Guess what? Guess who's replacing you? The college educated from other countries. So, you want to talk about student loans? You want to whine about college educated people supposedly getting a free ride off of you? Nobody's getting a free ride off of you. It's all got to be paid back no matter what. It's a goddamn tax. It's tax on poor, middle class, upper middle class college students for the rest of their lives. It's time we have a conversation about discharging this debt and holding these companies responsible, especially that CEO and all of his compadres in those other half a dozen plus companies that are making almost $8 million a year individually. Or the federal government needs to explain to us where all that excess money is. Because that's a shit ton. A $40,000 loan over the course of 30 years should not cost you $310,000. And every idiot watching this knows that. And all of the smart people do too. Peace.